1-855-821-5900. help@employmenthour.com. We've decided for this week to do some employment law, true or false. And it's not me asking the questions. In fact, I, for some reason, have chosen to be the sacrificial lamb on this one. So you're going to ask me.
I'm going to ask you some questions.
Because I have a law degree.
You don't have a law degree, but you know what? Neither do our listeners and our viewers. So I want to make sure that you've been paying attention over the past
5 years,
a few weeks and 5 years we've been doing the show. So I'm going to start you off with some easy ones, and maybe they'll get a bit harder as we go.
I'm sure they will.
Well, you got a 50% chance of getting it right, Johnny. So true or false, John? I don't need a lawyer to help me get my severance. I can just call the Ministry of Labor.
Oh, come on. Low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit.
We know that's not right. You need a lawyer. You should have a lawyer.
That is false. But you know what? Our viewers may not appreciate that. You're right. That is completely false. And it's false because the Ministry of Labor, John, can only help you get your minimum entitlements, which could be a small fraction, a small portion of what you're owed. So you cannot contact the Ministry of Labor. And like I said, it sounds self-serving to say you need an employment lawyer, because I'm an employment lawyer, which is why I always say, that's fine. You don't like me, don't contact me, contact another employment lawyer. But you absolutely have to have an employment lawyer if you lost your job. You should not contact the Ministry of Labor. If you do that, you'll find out you give away your rights.
Right.
Bad idea, John.
Employment law, true or false? I'm ready for the next one. Bring it on.
So, my employer can fire me for any reason, whether it's to cut costs or because they want to hire someone else. Maybe I was late to work, or maybe I wore the wrong color socks. True or false?
I will say true under the caveat that they have to pay you full severance if they do so.
Okay, well, you know, my job here is done. I can now leave because I'm not needed. Apparently.
See you next week. We're done here.
Well, here's the thing. That's absolutely right.
Yep.
Can your employer fire you for any reason or even a silly reason? The answer is absolutely yes. But as you've said, they have to pay you your full severance. A lot of people that call me are very upset that they lost their job. They feel they did nothing wrong, and they're right. But legally speaking, the employer can let them go as long as severance is paid. Now, and where a wrongful dismissal happens is that in many cases the employer does not pay proper severance, does not pay full severance, and they owe the person a lot of money.
Right.
But you're right, they can let you go for any non-discriminatory reason as long as they pay you severance, John.
And that's often the first part of the conversation you have is, okay, get over the fact that you've been fired. We can't do anything about that, but you should be looking at this number because that's where the error is, right?
I can't make your employer a better person.
Right.
I can't make them a more ethical person, but I can definitely make sure that you get what you're owed, that you get the compensation that you're owed. So that's where the focus has to be.
All right, employment, true or false, number 3.
All right.
2 for 2. Excellent.
He's 2 for 2. Good. So the next one, John, is my employer can change my level of pay and workload whenever they want. Hey, they're the boss after all.
False. Right away, false.
That's good. That's good. That is false, John. That is false. Now, an employer does have some leeway to make some changes to your job. If they put you from Office A to Office B, that may not be a big deal. But if you're subject to significant changes to the terms of employment, that could be a constructive dismissal. That's something that the employer is not allowed to do. And if they do that, you may have the right to leave with compensation. So you're absolutely right, Johnny.
So far, I'm, 3 for 3 now?
Well,
this is better than when I was in school.
It's better. It's better. You're doing very well, John.
Thank you. Employment law, true or false, number 4.
4.
Bring it on.
So there's completely different severance rules for federally regulated employees.
False.
That's false. That is very false.
I totally guessed that one.
Another misconception.
Yep.
A lot of people believe that if I work for a federally regulated company, I don't get the same severance, or it's different, or it's less. Let's make it clear. Your entitlements are based on your age, your position, and the length of your employment. So whether you're working for a federally regulated employer, like a bank, for example, or a railway, or a provincially regulated employer, like most of us, you get the same severance. So don't assume that just because you're in a federally regulated company, you get less. Not true, John.
Doing the employment law, true or false here? It'll be a home game eventually, but we're just doing it on air now. Give me number 5.
Only 2 more, John.
Yeah, good.
So the next one, your employer has legal cause to let you go if your insurance provider, your disability insurance provider, cuts you off benefits.
No. False, too.
False. That is very, very true. It's false. It's a big-time false, because if your insurance company cuts you off, that's between you and the insurance company. That doesn't impact your job. If you have a doctor that says you cannot work, irrespective of what the insurance company does, your employer has to give you time off work. They can't fire you. They can consider you to have resigned. And if they do anything else, that's illegal. That's a human rights violation. And by the way, if your insurance company, if your long-term disability insurer cuts you off, give us a call as well. We deal with these issues all the time. The insurance company often is in the business of cutting people off, so we can get them to either reinstate you or pay you compensation. position. But your answer, John, correct.
And they quite often go hand in hand. Employment problems with insurance and disability problems, right?
You get cut off your insurance. The employer says you need to come back to work or else we fire you. They go hand in hand. We deal with both of these issues.
And just to make a finer point on it, the doctor's word is trumps all, really, when you can go back and not go back, right?
Yeah, your doctor decides. Your employer can't disagree. We'll talk about it a bit more later on the show. If your doctor says you can't work, you provide that to your employer, John. That's all you need.
Employment law, true or false? Final question. Bring it on. I'm ready.
Well, this one is not even fair because I talked about it at the beginning of the show. But part-time employees have a right to severance if they lose their job.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. I'm not going to elaborate. Part-time employees get the same severance as full-time employees based on age, position, length of employment. Check out severancepaycalculator.com. You get severance.